to see it.
Where do I go?
It's getting there. I just put all the leaves on yesterday.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So I have to find some fruit to put in my tree.
Oh.
So I'm gonna go back here and see if I can find some material with fruit on it. I need some fruit to put in the tree.
Okay, welcome. Welcome to Unity of Pomona Valley's live stream Sunday lesson. We just had our art show, our banner art show at noon, and it was really fun to hear the process and the deep spiritual principles that came through these banners. It really helps you deepen, doesn't it? So I thank you guys for being here and being willing to try something new and doing it, and I'm looking forward to others doing that and to more spiritual banners. So thank you for being here at Unity of Pomona's Sunday service here on October 12th. This month, Halloween month, we are looking at scary thoughts. Julie, you are too much. She is. She's ready. And so, you know, what do scary thoughts give us? Stress, right? A lot of stress. So we have something to deal with these scary thoughts, and that's spiritual truth. You know, when we really do spiritual study, we learn more about who we are and the spiritual truth that we can hold to help vanish and vanquish those scary thoughts. And those scary thoughts can be around a number of things, including our sense of ourself, including prosperity. And so those are two things that kind of go together, prosperity and our sense of ourselves. So we did some prosperity last week, but it was more a lesson that directed on about who I am. And so this week I've asked Mary Ann to speak more on the truth about prosperity that we can use to deal with that. So I'm excited to welcome Mary Ann Cordova as she introduces herself. So let us sing I Love Myself the Way I Am.
The
inside, right? Let us pray. I invite you to let my words be your words. I do love myself. I love myself just the way I am, with my joys and my fears, with my smiles and my tears, with my ups and with my downs. I am a precious expression of the divine, and I am learning how to walk on earth with all the challenges that it brings me, so that my soul can grow. I am blessed to live in an abundant universe and to have the wisdom of the divine as my guide. I open to receive all that I need to do that which is mine to do. I am abundantly blessed with riches of friendship, insights, divine ideas, and resources in great magnitude. As I give thanks, as Jesus did before I receive, I open to what the universe has for me, which is always good. I live in a state of gratitude for the blessings that are mine, those that I have already received and those that are coming to me now. I realize that what I focus on multiplies. And so I focus with positive expectations on blessings. And I give thanks as if they are already here. God never shuts off the flow of good. And I open myself to receive it, remembering I am worthy of blessings, because I am an expression of the divine. And so are all children of God, which is everyone. And so it is. Amen and amen. And now let us sing the Lord's Prayer. So I invite everyone to join us for food and fellowship today, following the service in our room. I also invite you to let people know that we are saved on YouTube as well as Facebook. So if people want to look back at a lesson, they are welcome to do that, or a song or whatever. I just want to thank the banner creators, and I got pictures of the banners and I got them, so there they are. They're here hanging, but they're also, so thanks to Carmen and Jackie and Susie for the beautiful banners that they have created for us. And I know that a number of people are working on them. New ones. This afternoon after we eat, we are having a Unity 102 class, and that is for anybody that's interested in Unity, wants to know a little bit about where we came from, some of our perspectives on things, since we don't tell people what to believe, but ask people to go within and find out their own belief system that is always growing, always changing, right? So I invite you to come for conversation, and we get to tell a little bit of our spiritual journey on the way, and talk about these different aspects of spiritual truth and teachings. So if you're going to, anybody can come, I hope you will. The book study is Mondays. We're almost through with our book, Ishmael. It's from 7 to 8 on Zoom. On Wednesday, we have our Pomona Conference of Collaboratives. So if you serve Pomona, I invite you to sign up. I think you can still get in, and it's people learning who is doing what in Pomona and working together, smarter, better, deeper. Then Wednesday night, we have our SWAC. Hopefully we will have people there, and I'm hoping you all will be here with us as we look at Unity's strengths, weaknesses, the opportunities that are out there for us, and some of the challenges we are dealing with. So it's a potluck, so I invite you to just bring something simple to share as we discuss this together. Linda Lowry is going to be leading, and Drac is going to be scribing, so it should be a lot of fun and give us some momentum, hopefully, into what's next. Compassionate Pomona is October 16th, which is this Thursday, and it is on Zoom. You're all invited. And we've moved our Wednesday meditation to Thursday evening at 6:30 because of the SWAC on Wednesday. And then our Pomona police are having their spooktacular celebration on Saturday, October 18th, and it will be at the police department, police station, police headquarters around there, and there'll be all kinds of treats and resources and various things for any age. And then our Upland Interfaith Conversations About God is October 21st, a week from Tuesday at the Upland Library, and we're looking at gratitude and prayers of thanksgiving together. So you can bring prayers to share. That would be fun. And then we're working with the Claremont Center for Spiritual Living to have another interfaith open hearts sharing and prayer circles.
And Jen, we announced, 5:30, not the 6 up there.
Oh, you announced.
The 5:30, even though.
Oh, you announced 5:30, even though it's.
Even though
see, I changed
said
it to 6. Okay, so we're going back and forth. So it's at 5:30.
As much as we can, yeah.
Yeah. Come 5:30, 6. Whenever you come, you'll be welcome.
And we'll fix the flyer.
And please send it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
When
Marianne. It's
fixed.
really nice to get to work together with you. I just appreciate it. So it's at 5:30. Thank you. And then the last announcement is of events is our Compassionate Pomona's Kindness Festival, about kindness calms chaos. And as we walk through this world in our lives, I invite you to just remember how important kindness is to somebody that's struggling. Sometimes it literally saves lives, right? And in this time of a lot of chaos and fear, just be your kind self. We are collecting. We give you opportunities to do that. prayers for Ruth, by the way. She's not feeling well today. And so she's not here to collect our food and our hygiene articles and our backpacks for the schools, the community schools, but she hopefully will be here with us next week. So I invite you to bring those things. And we just know and remember that we are filled with blessings. So let us say our blessing, our affirmation together that's on the screen. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all I am, all I give, all I do, and all that I receive. And so it is. And we do have some new ways to give, and one of them is our Zelle, our QR code there for Zelle, and it is on your bulletin. Thank you, Liz, for passing the basket. I appreciate your help as greeter and usher and all the many hats that you wear here. Thank you. So Jackie, come on up and read your favorite book, The Daily Word.
That's right.
Here, do I need to move this
No, that's
forward?
right. Page. I'm on the wrong page. That's the story of my life today.
For an acclaimed artist.
Worthy. Okay. I know I read the right one at home, but I didn't have the page
There
turned
you
in the
go.
book.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The word for today is, I'm on the wrong page, is worthy. All people are worthy as children of God. It can be easy to look at others and see differences, the things that tend to keep us separate. I may even make judgments about their worthiness, but each person is so much more than their appearance, habits, and histories. Today I commit to treating others as I would want them to treat me, as the divine beings they are. I will look beyond appearances, put aside any judgments, and open my heart to others. I will treat all others as individuations of the divine and beloved members of the human family. As I do this, I feel differences and separations fall away. I behold our similarities and feel a new kind of kinship, one born of respect and acceptance. All people are one in God, and each is worthy of inclusion and belonging. From Romans 8:16, it is that very Spirit bearing witness with our spirit that we are children of God.
There we are. I had the song up instead of your beautiful.
Oh.
There we are, worthy. Thank you, Jackie. So now we get to sing another song, and it is God in Me Can Do Anything. Do you like that song?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, maybe we should sing it more and really get it down. So now I invite Mary Ann to come up and talk about how scary thoughts meet spiritual truth around a number of things, including prosperity. So Mary Ann, thank you for coming.
And thank you for inviting me.
Yes. And here's, oh, and
Oh, the
David, do you want to shift us over to the, there you go,
Okay.
PowerPoint. I'm going to take some.
No, that's not the first one. Keep going up. Oh, maybe. Is there, that's the first? Okay, go back to that one. Go ahead, start with that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, those songs we just sang are beautiful. And they're really the seed of what I'm talking about today. The theme for this month, Jan said, was scary thoughts. What can you do about scary thoughts? You can put positive thoughts in your head and replace them. Because we all know you can't just have no thoughts. You know, I've heard that some people do, but I have never been able to achieve that. You know, and the world loves a vacuum, so if you release the scary thoughts, you better put something else in there. So today we're going to start looking at that positively. The scary thought would be a lack. You know, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that. There isn't enough of this in the world. I'm not worthy to receive this. And out of that, we have a life that's full of limitation. And today we're talking about prosperity, because prosperity is not just money. Prosperity includes money, but I have a whole workshop on that for another time about just fusing the power of money. But prosperity is our consciousness and a way of dealing with life. There can be prosperity in friendship. There can be prosperity in nature, in joy, everything, in love. So we're going to kind of look at what prosperity really means and ways to achieve that. And I say prosperity and consciousness because we know everything begins here. Even our connection with the divine begins here, allowing that divine spark within us. So we want to develop a prosperous consciousness. So what does prosperity really mean? It means to succeed at becoming strong or to flourish, exceed economically, and to have well-being. So wherever, in whatever area we're prosperous, we have a sense of well-being. That's the key, is the well-being. I think it's kind of interesting to look at wealth and health, because if you take health, we know that health is simply well-being, right? Mental health is we have well-being in our mind, and physical health, we have physical health. What is wealth? You change the H to W. So all it means is having that feeling of all is well materially. Then our needs are met. And why do we want to be prosperous? Well, as Mickey Mouse would say, because we like it. We like it because it brings us joy, right? It brings us joy and happiness. All our needs are met. So that joy is not necessary just because of money. It's other things too. So to be prosperous, we need to be prosperous in all areas of our lives. And to do this, we need to know where our source and supply really is, right? It's hard sometimes to get that, to have that trust, because it really is about trust. And what is trust but simply a demonstration of our faith? So if we really want to feel prosperous, we need to go inside and look at our faith. We know that God is in everything. God is the source and supply of everything that exists. And we know that God is all good and God is unlimited. So if that's the truth, and we really believe that, can we trust in God? It's not asking us to trust in another person, whether it be, the IRS or Social Security or, the guy next door or our boss. We're not asking for you to trust that. Just trust God. That's it. So there are three key elements of prosperity. The first one is circulation. The next is detachment and gratitude. So we're going to look at each of these as we go through this afternoon. So the law of circulation. There are spiritual laws and there are natural laws, and they pretty much mirror each other. Probably because the natural laws came from the same place that spiritual laws came from. So it's kind of all the same, right? So we know there's natural laws. There's the water, the cycle of water as it rains and then it evaporates and goes back up to the clouds. So there's that natural cycle. There's the cycle of electricity. As you can see, there's circuit boards up there. And anywhere along the line, and then the guy in the middle, he's just commerce. We know in commerce that we have to make a product, we distribute a product, somebody buys it, the money comes around, and you make it again, supply and demand, it keeps going. The interesting thing about this law of circulation is if you break it anywhere, it doesn't work. Anywhere. So in the spiritual law of giving and receiving, we have a giving and a receiving. Now we say we like to give, okay? Because it makes us feel good, right? Makes us feel good. However, if we're giving with the strings attached, it doesn't work so well. But we'll get back to that in just a second. What I want to really talk about first is that receiving part. Because a lot of us have a hard time in receiving. But remember, anywhere along the line of that cycle, if you break it, it doesn't work. So if we don't receive, it's not working. Why don't we like to receive? Well, it creates some vulnerability. If I receive a gift from somebody, it's my first thought, oh goodness, now I got to give them one back. And does it have to be better or equal to, so we have all of these thoughts because it creates this thing called separation. We have this separation. There's that person and there's me. And are they better than me? Are they giving me something better than I can give them? Is the value of their gift better than mine? Is the value of their presence better than mine? So we automatically move into that separation when we receive. And then there's the judgment again, we start comparing that. So we feel vulnerable, we feel compared, I remember in a class one time somebody said, well, I needed to move and my buddy offered to help me move and I just said no. And why did you say no? Well, I don't know, I guess, I helped him move last year, but why did you say no? Well, because I didn't want to impose. But the thing is, when you give a gift, you feel good, right? So if someone's giving you a gift and you refuse it, you're taking away that feel good from them. They don't get to have the joy of sharing with you. So we've just broken that cycle. And we've taken the joy out of our connection with somebody that it was there. And we don't allow ourselves to have the joy of receiving. I mean, how often, when somebody comes up and says, oh, that's a nice blouse you have on. Oh, this little thing, I got it at the thrift shop, or I bought it 20 years ago. Or you look great today. Simply say thank you.
Yeah.
And receive it. Feel good. Stand a little taller. Oh, I look good today, don't I? It'll make both of you feel good. And isn't that what prosperity is really all about? Is feeling good, feeling well, having that security. So those are the kind of things we want to think about. I'll leave kind of my notes just in case I forget some of that. So in that receiving, that's what we want to allow that receiving, because it also gives our mind, like the songs, about, I'm worthy, I'm good, I was born that way. In our nonprofit Character Champions, we say, I'm valuable, lovable, and capable, and I was born that way, and no one can take it away. So when somebody gives you a compliment or a gift, it's because they value you. And why would we want to say, I don't value what you value? If Reverend Jan wants to give me a gift and I don't want to accept it, I'm basically telling her that even though she values our friendship, I don't respect her value. And what does that do to Jan? What am I saying to her if I don't value her valuing me? It's a rejection. So we want to open ourselves to that receiving and realize that we are, one, giving a gift to the other person, and two, recognizing our own intrinsic value. We do have value. And if you allow someone to make you aware of that, it helps you to grow inside. It helps you to stand up a little taller and recognize that value. Because you know what? God recognizes the value. And how often do we reject the value that God is recognizing? We shut ourselves off from that divine love as we shut ourselves off from each other and the love that we want to pass on. Okay, so giving. When we give, is our giving a bargain? Bargains are fine. When we go to the grocery store, we get food and we give money. That's a bargain. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we think that we're actually giving, I read a quote the other day that says, kindness to somebody that you already have a relationship with, it's just sharing your friendship. But being kind and not expecting anything back, now that's giving. That's kindness. I often think of, in that respect, that we have this bargaining and the negotiating so often. I'm going to give you this, and I'm expecting you to give me. I'm going to go to work, and I expect you to give me. Now, if we have that understanding that's what we're doing, but when we bring that into our personal lives, into our relationships, they talk about marriages, both giving 100% and not expecting the other person to give anything. Because when we build up that expectation, golly, we're bound to be disappointed, right? The more you expect, somewhere along the line that other person isn't going to give you what you expect, because guess what? They're another person. They're not you. So they're not going to do exactly what you do in your way. They can't. Somebody told me once, we don't forgive people because when they hurt us, we want them to hurt as much as we've been hurt. And they can't, because they weren't the one that got hurt, and they could be sorry, but they're never going to feel it. We expect other people to jump inside our body and our hearts and be exactly the same. And they just can't. So giving is without expectation, without negotiating, without bargaining. And it's giving up those strings attached. Buying love or buying forgiveness. And we often, in our giving, there are strings attached, right? There's the old cycle story, when you give your kids this new bike, the parent gives this kid a new bike, and he says, okay, Christmas time, here's your new bike, and guess what? I never had a bike. So you get to have this bike, but in order to have this bike, you can't park it in the rain, you have to bring it inside, and you can't leave it on the playground where someone could steal it, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, and you better wipe it down, and you better. What does the kid remember? They remember the strings, not the gift. And so often we say, my kid's just ungrateful. This person, they're just ungrateful. Well, because there were so many strings attached, they don't know the gift. It's given with an obligation. They remember the obligation. So we need to give with no strings attached, which, makes me think of a boomerang. The law of circulation, the boomerang, you throw the boomerang back out and it's supposed to come back, right? But if you were to throw a boomerang with a string on it, what's going to happen?
Keep going.
Yeah, and at some point it's just going to fall. If you throw it with an attitude and you throw it down at the ground, it's not going anywhere. If you throw in frustration, it's going to end up behind your back. So I saved you guys the boomerang throwing, which I like to do, over your heads. But you can get that picture that, if we're giving and we're expecting the law to come back, the prosperity to come back, has to be no strings attached. Because in life, what you give may not come back from the exact same person. If it comes back from the same person, that's a bargain. That's the idea of...
That's my fault.
Yep, sorry. That's okay, Jan.
Okay.
Well, it'll hang up eventually. So if you're giving at the grocery store, you're giving your money, they give you food, that's a bargain. But if you're giving out into the universe, your good may come back from a completely different source. It doesn't have to come back from where you gave. So the second thing that we talked about, and the second element, is detachment. And Deepak Chopra tells us, in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, you have to relinquish your attachment to it. Whew. That's tough. In order for us to have prosperity financially, we have to not care about how much money we're making. In order to have love, we have to not be demanding it or searching and creating that. There is so often I can think of with my son. He had a previous fiance, and I did not like this lady. I have to tell you, be honest, I did not like this lady. And it came to a point, they were together like 6 years. And so one Christmas they were over, and she goes, and I don't think I want any kids because, there's manic depressive stuff in my family, and yeah, I could have a kid like that, I could. So I don't think I'm going to do it, and so of course, being disappointed as a grandma. But I told myself, okay, Mary, you have to let go. Let go of your expectation and just receive. They're here for dinner. Be grateful for that. They're here. Be grateful. Be grateful. Let go. So I finally convinced myself to let go. And guess what? Within the month, they broke up. I've been praying for them to break up for 6 years. So, and that's happened over and over, as soon as you give up. A lot of people who are trying to have a child, as soon as they give up and go do something else, they get pregnant. Things like that happen. It's when we let go of a particular outcome and look for the principle, the quality of love, or all our needs being met, or whatever, things happen when we let go of the outcome. This is hard to read, but it says, get into your consciousness that you live in a sea of substance, as a fish lives in water. Can the fish or the sea ever lack for water? Can you, having your being in a sea of God's substance, ever really lack for sufficiency of creativity or ideas or money or opportunity or anything you need? The important thing is to hold to the awareness that you are created in the substance of God, formed of the substance, and ceaselessly supported by the substance. If we can just remember that. God is all around us. That source is all around us. What really makes a difference is what we're looking with and how we're looking. Are we looking with eyes of gratitude? Or resentment? Are we looking with eyes that see beauty? Or only destruction? Because what we look with is what we're going to see. Have you ever bought a new car because you thought it was unique? And all of a sudden, as you're driving around, you see a dozen of the same car? This happens all the time because now we're focused on it. What you focus on, you will see. As my son used to say in a class, he says, don't fuel the fire that you want to put out, fuel the one you want to see. So what we look at, okay, and how we're looking. So those glasses are kind of saying what we're looking with. What kind of glasses do you put on in the morning? Do you put on glasses of gratitude? Do you put on glasses of beauty? Do you put on glasses of awe and wonder? Or do you put on glasses of shadow? And these glasses we put on create an attitude. And there's a funny thing about attitude. All the hard work, and if you take the letters of the alphabet, and you know how each letter has, 1 through 26 value, and you add that together for hard work, you get 98%. Knowledge gives you 96%. Attitude gives you 100%. How about that?
Wow.
How about that? So it's our attitude, an attitude that creates our consciousness. Whoops, you went too far. Okay, but it's that attitude of gratitude. Let's see if we can go back. Yeah, that attitude that creates consciousness, and therefore what we have is what they call a law of attraction. When a person who has an up attitude walks into the room, You know, this person, we all know that person, right? That person who's positive about life, who's going places, doing things. They walk into the room, how do you feel?
Up, joyful.
You feel up and joyful. You know that person. As soon as you see them, you feel good about yourself. You may also know a person that as soon as you're with them, you feel tired and just maybe bored or whatever. That's a law of attraction. You know, what your attitude, what you bring, creates that around you. You bring in more people with that same attitude, with that same joy, with that same vision of awe. So it's that law of attraction, it's that attitude of gratitude, and it's our words. Because what we say, whether we say them silently to ourselves or out loud to others, or some of us say out loud to ourselves, those are what your subconscious hears. How do we talk to ourselves and each other? What words do we use? Do you talk to yourself like your friend talks to you? Or do you go, oh man, why did I say that? I should have done this, I should have said that. What was I thinking? And of course you know every little tiny mistake you've ever made because you did it, right? And how much time do you spend thinking about that and beating yourself up over it? Because guess what? The energy that we spend on talking to ourselves that way takes up room in our head that isn't available for knowing the truth of who we are as awesome expressions of the divine. So every time you beat yourself up, you take up that room to express what God is thinking and feeling and wanting to express through you. So our words are important. We start with our words to ourselves because that's where we have most of our talk anyways. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so affluence is an abundant flow. That's all it is. Whoops, abundant flow. And prosperity is going forth with trust. Trust, and remember who we're trusting. We're trusting in the divine expressing through us and allowing others to do the same thing. And we're remembering that God is good everywhere, always, no question about it. There is that spark of goodness every single place on this planet, in this universe, in you, in every single person, whether they're showing it or not. So why do we want to have a prosperity conscious? Because it gives us joy. It gives us safety. It gives us love. It gives us peace. And it gives us beauty. So manifestation, prosperity begins in the mind. It begins with knowing that giving and receiving are equal. We have to keep reminding ourselves of that. They're equal. And letting go of control, because we cannot control everything, and the harder we try, the more frustrated we get. So just, no one appointed you God. God can do it. We can't always do it. So we have to let go of that control of what everybody else does, right? My way is the right way, and everybody else is kind of questionable. We have to let go of that thought and of that responsibility. Sometimes we think we're responsible for teaching other people the right way to behave. It's not our job. That's really hard to accept. The prodigal son's brother thought that he did everything right and the prodigal son should have behaved the way he did. And he had a hard lesson to learn. So we need to give up being the prodigal son's brother. Okay?
Yeah.
And lastly, living with an attitude of gratitude. So what's our call to action? Say thank you when somebody gives you a compliment or a gift, and open yourself to more. We want to give with no strings attached. Tithe to where you're spiritually fed, because tithing is not that old obligation that we had to give 10% to the king. Tithing in the spiritual sense is giving gratitude for what you've already received. We sort of tithe in the rears. We're giving gratitude for what we've already received. Trust that your needs are met. Because what's your source? God, right. God is our source. And live with that attitude of gratitude. Yes, God does work through other people, other situations, other things. And we have to let God do that. When we're trusting God, it's like, the old story of the guy that's out there and it's flooding, it's raining and it's raining and it's raining, and along comes the fire truck and says, hey, I'm here to rescue you. And he goes, no, God's going to save me. I'm staying here. And then along comes the guy in a boat and says, hey, jump on, because the water now is, up to the windows. And he says, no, I don't need to go. God's going to save me. And the water keeps rising and rising and goes up to the rooftop. And the guy standing on the rooftop, and along comes a helicopter. And the helicopter says, hey, we're going to throw down this rope, and you grab onto it. He goes, nah, God's going to save me. Guy drowns. Goes to heaven and says, God, why didn't you save me? Okay, we get it. So God works through many sources. But we know that when we put things into prayer and let God allow God to do its goodness, it will. And living with the attitude of gratitude is just saying thank you for what God already did and is already doing. So, live long and prosper. Jump into it. Jump into that sea of substance. That's all I have for you today.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary Ann. Wow. What a powerful lesson.
Yeah. Would you like me to do a prayer with that?
Sure.
Okay. I like to finish these things with a prayer. Because in prayer we let go. We let go and let God. So as we take this into prayer, we know that God is prosperous. God is prosperity itself. There is unlimited power, unlimited potential, unlimited everything. And that God is so everywhere present, but more importantly, God is within me. God is within each person in this room. And so I know that full prosperity is within each and every one of us, and all we have to do is let go and let God. So right now we do that. We let go and let all that grace of God flow into us, around us. We just sit back and enjoy it and allow it to happen. And so we can just laugh with joy and gratitude. For it is done as we have spoken. Amen. So
Yes. Thank you, Mary Ann. Okay. So I need, David, my thing back. David is a master. Okay. Julie.
Sitting in a cactus.
That one. Yeah. So, Julie, do you have special music for us?
I do.
Oh, wonderful.
All right, so this is a silly song
No,
called
Julie.
Twisted. My analyst told me that I was right out of my head, but I still talk to her. Okay, I'm gonna try that again with the words. I had it here. My analyst told me that I was right out of my head the way he described it. He said it'd be better dead than alive. I didn't listen to his jive. I knew all along. I thought he was wrong. I thought he was nuts. No ifs, ands, or buts. My analyst told me that I was right out of my head. He said I need treatment, but I'm not that easily led. He said I was the type that was most inclined and out of his sight, and out of my mind, and he thought I was nuts. No ifs, ands, or buts. They say as a child I appeared a little bit wild with all my crazy ideas that I knew was happening. I knew I was genius. It's so strange when you know that you're always with me. I knew that this was meant to be. Well, they say little children are supposed to sleep tight. That's why I got from the pocket one night. My parents got frantic, they didn't know what to do. But I felt some crazy things before you turn out. Do you think I'm crazy? I have only been 3 minutes. I was slipping. I looked at Alexander Graham Bell. They all looked at Edison and also Einstein. So why should I feel sorry if they just couldn't understand the reason and the logic that went on in my head? I had a brain that was insane, so I don't care if you laugh at me because I refuse to ride all those double-decker buses because there's no drivers on the top. My analyst told me that I was right out of my head, but I said, dear doctor, I think it is you instead, cause I got a thing that's unique and new. Will prove that I'll have the last love on you, cause instead of one head, I got 2, and you know the 2 beds, heads are better than a one.
What a cute song. Thank you, Julie. So glad you're feeling better. And now let us share together the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is good. And now let us sing our peace song. And where peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. God as creator, that we all need. Let us love each other in perfect harmony. Please begin with me. Let this be the moment now. We'll never separate. Let this be my joyous hour. Today each moment and live each moment in peace So it is. Thank you, and thank you again, Marianne, for being with us today and a beautiful message. We are blessed to have neighboring church.